friends, Jen Cascell here. I am back with another design team project share and tutorial for Scrap Diva Designs. Today we are going to be focusing on the Santa boot die, specifically how I created this cute little box. This is my original one right here and the second one that I created. So as always, here is her shop and all of the info on the back. Make sure to use that hashtag Scrap Diva Designs for some amazing inspiration. And as always, if I've inspired you in any way, please feel free to use my coupon code JEN10 for 10% off your purchase at the shop. I super appreciate everybody who's used my coupon code this month. I do get a small kickback and it helps me continue to do the things that I love to do. Like I said, this is the original one right here. I wanted to do a slightly different version. I wanted to do something a little funner and brighter. I did a contrasting strip of pattern paper this time around. Super cute, super cute. This is the Paige Evans Sugar Plum Wishes that came out last year. This is Minte, Mary, and Joy that I used for this one. So pretty. Just a really cute die set, and I think you guys are gonna love it. And this is a pretty generously sized box too when it's put together. So you can fit a lot of goodies in there. It'd be a cute little stocking stuffer. Okay, so I have all of my different components cut out. We're using the box making strips kit. I ended up using the thinner of the two, so mine is going to measure 2 inches. And you'll need 2 of these. Onto the Santa boot die. Super easy die to put together, you guys. Not hard at all. So you're going to need 2 of the base, and remember these are obviously not symmetrical, so you will need to flip your paper when you run the rear one through. And then you're also going to need your layering pieces. Now with this one, do pay attention. Your stitched piece is your background piece. The inside layer is not stitched. So I'm making a pink boot, so I made sure to flip that second paper as well. Same thing, this right here is going to be the boot-like collar. Make sure to flip it. You're also going to need these, I just did portions of them. It's just the heel that I used. I'll let you take a closer look here. So I actually just kind of cut it off, as you can see. So all I did was just use a scrap piece of paper. The interior of your boot, just to kind of lie like this, you don't need a huge sheet of paper because we will be cutting the whole thing off. In addition to, you've got a whole bunch of littles in here, and I'll say it again, one of the things that I like most about Scrap Diva Designs dies is you get a lot of bang for your buck. It's never just like 1 or 2 die, you know what I mean? So I did create some of the little embellishments that I'm going to use with the rest of the pieces. So you do get this pine, which is absolutely beautiful. I love this pine. This is going to be your belt buckle that runs along. I'll show you on this side like this. Once again, remember to flip at least this part because it does kind of just settle right into the right place on the boot. And then your belt buckle, I've just cut twice as well. If you're using foam for dimension, you may want to cut this out of foam. I am just going to use Barely Art strips, so I didn't bother with the foam layer. And then you do get a couple of bells. You do get a small and a large. I've cut them twice because I'm going to glue them back to back if I use them. I don't even know if I'm using them. And then you get a flower, and let me tell you, this poinsettia flower, I stinking love. It's one of my favorite poinsettias that I have ever played with. And I cut that in hot pink and a light pink. I am going to go over to my workstation, so let's get a different view of my desk. Okay, so before we get into the tutorial, I wanted to say, with the outside of the boot, you're actually going to need 4 of these. That was my mistake. These 2 you don't have to flip. You're not going to see them to begin with, but when you cut them, so make sure that you have 3 that are this way and then 1 flipped over, because you will see that side if you're using textured or pattern paper for this. So I'm going to start with these two right here and my box making strips. So I am going to start by making sure all of my tabs are flipped over and crease with a bone folder to give yourself a really nice line that really does help when you're putting together 3D projects like this. Okay, with the first box making strip die, I am going to use my bone folder to fold over my tab. And I am going to glue this down at this point. And this is just going to create a nice sturdy ledge for your box top. And while I'm waiting for this to dry, can we just take a moment to appreciate what a cute glue bottle this is? This is my glue bottle. I won it. My team won it, actually. Design Team 11 over at Barely Art. It does have my name on it. And for all of you guys that bought it when you saw my Instagram stories, thank you so much. This was actually the fastest Barely Art has ever sold out of a limited edition bottle, and so cute. Absolutely love it. These SVG files that my team created for our project. We do a huge ICP project. It's the Intercommunity Project over at Barely Art this each term. And we're broken down into smaller groups because it's a really large design team, and we get to know each other on a more personal level, but we also get to craft for a really, really good cause because Barely Art sponsors kids in foster care, and we essentially create a party for a kid in the foster care system, and we couldn't be happier to do it. It's always so much fun. We absolutely love it. And I got a glue bottle for it. So thank you guys. And thank you Barely Art as well. And I will mention what I really like about this design is it's got new caps. And if you don't use Barely Art glue and you've never gotten a bottle from them. So this is the 4-ounce. It's a tip cap and kit that comes with it. And you get several different tips that come here. This is the tip kit that comes with it. You do have, this is the fine tip, you get the ultra fine, this is your regular tip, and then it also comes with a really nice stainless steel needle to keep your tips clean. And if you've never tried Barely Art glue, even though you can't find my bottle, you should try it because it's amazing. Back to the project. All right, so using the strip that you just glued down over on the side, you're gonna count 5 strips over. So 5 tabs over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're gonna fold your paper. And I'm just gonna fold back and forth so that I get a really pliable crease. And I'm going to go 3 strips over, 1, 2, 3, and on that third, I'm just going to cut to the score line. So you're essentially cutting this tab in half. Same thing with this one over here, just cut it in half. And then at that half, fold it really well like we just did, back and forth. Okay, now we're going to go 9 tabs over starting at the next full tab. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And on the 9th, you're going to split it in half just to the score line on both sides, okay? And once again, really shape that paper up. Make it super pliable. Now, if you are going to use a contrasting pattern paper, I have these set aside for me. I would suggest putting that on now. I did not do that while I was kind of manipulating the paper, just because you'll have to go through an extra layer of paper, but I will put it on and then redo my score lines. These are 2-inch box making strips, so I made my pattern paper 1 7/8. And now I'm gonna go through and recrease. Now that I have that on, I am going to use my bone folder to curl it a little bit. All right, so using the first, I'm going to come over here and add this first. Remember, this is the top of your piece, so I'm going to go to my first score line, and I am actually going to probably use some hot glue for this part. Just going to stick that corner in there and secure it with hot glue on either side. This is going to fit nicely right here is where it's meant to go. So you can actually glue all three, well, 2.5 technically, of these tabs at the same time. And then these next ones, I'm going to go up here to the top. I'm going to kind of switch it around from the way that I normally do things. I usually go from the top down, but not this time around, you guys. I found it easier to do it this way. And same thing with this. Just want to pull that over, and it's going to go down. And you'll hit that last score line we made right at that edge right here where it dips down. So I hit that first 1.5 tabs, just using a little hot glue to give it a little traction right in that area. Same thing with this right here. I'm gonna just hit it with a little hot glue, just so we can start forming the rest of it. And I suppose you could do this whole thing with hot glue, but I'm gonna level with you. I'm not a hot glue person, not for 3D projects. I know a lot of girls who do use it, but it's not for me. I don't like how bulky it can get. And don't forget to use your work surface. Now I'm gonna grab my hot glue again, and I'm gonna hit this 1/2 tab and bring it down right into that corner. Okay. Use my Barely Art for the rest of the tabs. I'll just flip that over and apply pressure. And now I'm going to count 3 from the end. And cut it off. And it should bring us right to where the heel of the boot is. Okay, not so bad so far, right? Okay. Now let's head over to our other spare box set, and once again, let's fold that tab over. Make sure you use that bone folder, and I'll add a little liquid glue. We're going to do the exact same thing and count down 5. So 5 tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and at the 5th, fold over. Now we're going to count 8 over, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and at the 8, fold. Okay, once we've hit 8, we're going to go down 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th one, cut it in half. Okay, that 6th one, make sure you go ahead and do a good fold on it. And then just take your scissors and on the next full tab, cut off. And you can actually cut this 1.5 tabs, and I'm going to bring it in just a little towards the center to create my own little larger tab, because this is how it's going to connect to the bottom here. But before we do that, I am going to add my strip of paper, and of course I'm going to grab my scissors, trim. Okay, but before we start playing with this, I actually want to go back to my other piece. I am going to do my folds while I let it set. set that aside. I'm going to come back over here with my extra boot. Because these are kind of crazy curves, I am going to go and put the base of the box on the opposite side. And once again, I'm going to start in that crazy curve right here, and I'll just add a little bit of hot glue. You'll see that I'm going to use a little more hot glue on this side than I did on the other side. Just make sure that starts in the center. And from here, I am actually going to do my next curve right here at the base. Add a little hot glue. Put it right in that wrinkle. Just a lot easier to be able to fit your fingers into those sections without having the other part of the boot get in the way, because these by far are the hardest parts to complete because it's such a large curve. Actually, I'm going to flip that over and use my bone folder to get in there. See how nice that's lying? It's exactly what you want. And even though I could do a little regular glue with this, I'm going to use hot. And don't worry if this is looking a little wonky or you've got some extra glue on there. It's okay. We're covering this. You're not even going to be able to see it. That's why we have 4 of these Santa boots. Won't even be able to tell when it's done. Grab that hot glue just for these tabs that are on the curve. And I'll use just regular glue for the last few right here. And if you see your glue starting to pull up, don't feel bad about using a little hot glue in there. Same thing, I'm having a tough time with these. Put some hot glue on. Sometimes when you're making these 3D projects, you just kind of have to go with it. Okay, good. Now we can slide our tab inside and just start going around. So we want to make sure that this is curved inward, and I am going to give this a bit of a curve. Same thing with this right here. I'm going to kind of bring it up and out. There we go. First, I'll add some glue to my extra large tab. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use hot glue. These 3 tabs. Maybe even this 4th and 5th. Okay. And that should bring you right up to that curve that we did. Now flip over, and once again, hit that small tab to really lock it in. Probably just gonna go up this tab here with the hot glue. Well, next I'll focus on this curve that we created at the top. I'm gonna add just a little bit of hot glue and kind of wedge it in there. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Now I can just go in with my liquid glue. I'm just gonna flip it over and use my bone folder to really press it down. And if you see it kind of start to lift a little bit, that's okay. Go in with your hot glue. I am going in with some more hot glue on this side just because it's really hard to get in there at this point. And don't worry, there is nothing a strategically placed candy cane cannot cover. So even if it starts to look a little wonky, it's still going to turn out nice. And then the last ones. Okay, we should have a box at this point. Not too bad, right? Okay, so I've already glued together my base pieces. You could also use a bit of foam to secure this. I am going to use the same foam, like feather trim that I use. This is an ostrich trim at the top. So I just glued mine straight to the paper because I didn't want that added lift to it. Now I'm going to focus on these Santa boot pieces, and I'm just going to take my scissors and right on this line right here, I'm going to cut. So just follow that line. And I'm going to do that to both. And I'll just go ahead and glue those on. Okay, so I am going to take this strip right here, which is like the buckle strap. So when you put this down, you want it to, oh geez, you want it to kind of line up. It fits right in that little curve right there. And then you can just kind of bring it up just like that. Do the same thing for this one. Get it kind of right into that little curve. There we go. I did add some dimensional foam strips. I'm using cubies from Barely Art. The strips were actually the perfect size for these. That's why I chose to use them. And I'm going to put my buckle a little closer to this edge here. Now, at this point, I am going to add some glue to my base pieces. And I'm going pretty heavy with this. Cover up those wonky edges of the box. And I'm just using my stitched lines as a guide. So I'm getting them really close without going over the edge. So we should have a box shape at this point. Like I said, I'm going to use some of that ostrich feather at the top. I believe I got this stuff at, I don't know. It's been in my stash for a while. I want to say maybe Michael's. I have seen it. I mean, it's the same stuff that like a feather bow is made out of. And I'm just going to, well, I think I'll start it in the back. This is going to be my bag. So I am just going to follow the line of the boot right at the top here. I would suggest maybe cutting a scrap piece of glitter cardstock or whatever you used for the boot top to kind of cover up those sides if you're not using trim. I just think that ostrich trim adds such a fun, like, faux fur touch to it. It's so cute. I'm going to decorate my boot, and I'll be right back. Here's how my boot turned out. So cute. So I did a couple little clusters here. This ephemera is from the Paige Evans collection that came out last year, Sugar Plum Wishes. This is all digital. Even the pattern paper that I used is from the digital collection. And then I did like a little Made with Love. This is all my own print and cut ephemera from the digital. I did use some Scrap Diva flowers, the flowers from this die, as well as the branches, and you'll see some of those cool leaves. Super, super fun. I use this ephemera piece kind of as a base for my floral cluster to kind of point where my where my leaves were going, and I really like the look of it. I think it turned out really good. So, super cute. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, head on over to the shop, check out all of the amazing November release. This release has been so fun. And all of her info on the back again. And feel free to use my coupon code JEN10 for 10% off your purchase in the shop if I've inspired you in any way. Thank you so much. And check back. I am going to start working on the tutorial for my gingerbread pouch. This will be the last of the tutorials for the November dies specifically. I'm going to start working on December soon, but I really wanted to get this tutorial in. This was actually one of my favorites, and this die is back in the shop. I will link it in the description box because I did have a few people reach out to me and ask if she was going to get it back in stock. So thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more crafty content. I'll see you in the next crafty video. Bye!